Yo, what's up? This is Watch Party FC, and let me tell you something. I am absolutely pissed at what happened this past weekend. I mean, the Soweto Derby came, and it saw, and we were conquered. I mean, there's no Kaizer Chiefs fan on the planet who can sit here and say there's anything good, anything positive about the result and the performance from the weekend. I mean, this is probably the worst Kaizer Chiefs performance I have ever seen. And I'm sitting here thinking we've had some tough times as a team. I remember when Gavin Hunt was still the coach of Kaizer Chiefs, and, you know, Kaizer Chiefs was going through like a transfer ban, you know, as in we couldn't sign players. So obviously Gavin had to rely on young players. And we lost, you know, those Soweto derbies because we had young players, maybe not the experience that you would need at that level. Things were bad, you know, and it was, you know, sort of the lockdown periods. People were playing in bubbles. So all those factors, you know, were things that we considered when we looked at how Chiefs played in a Soweto derby. But this is a completely different story. I mean, literally, what the fuck? First of all, kudos to Pirates because I thought they came out, they knew what they wanted to do, and they did it. But for heaven's sake, you're a Kaizer Chiefs. You knew that the 28th of February was coming. It's not like something that surprised you to say, hey, I didn't know. We didn't know that we were going to play Pirates on the 28th of February. So what I saw on that day is a team that was ill-prepared for the occasion. Technically, from the coach's perspective, the players were not up to scratch. It was a mess, literally from the first whistle. Now, I know how Pirates play. They're high intensity. They try and press your centre-backs and make life difficult. Everybody's pressing and closing down when you have the ball. That's how Pirates play, which is what they did. But Chiefs didn't look like a team that wanted to do anything. Huh? It's like the guys woke up, like you and I wake up on a Saturday morning and then we've got some errands to run and then, maybe we'll just go past FNB Stadium, you know, and then just go home. They didn't look like players that actually wanted to give a good performance and win the game. They were nowhere. Physically, we didn't, you know, show their fight and the intensity and, you know, spirit. Right? Mentally, we could tell based on how they were playing that they were not prepared. It's as if nobody knew what they had to do. Nobody knew their role. Nobody knew each other. It was just like a bunch of players, you know? I mean, I play indoor football with my friends, and sometimes we've got bad days. You've had a long day, and then come 6 p.m. when we have to play, we're tired. You know, we've got jobs, we run businesses, we've got families. So sometimes we're not up to scratch. Sometimes you get on the pitch and you're tired. And then, you know? But we are not pros. So it's okay if guys like us that play socially do that, but not professional footballers. Abso-fucking-lutely not. It was just bad. We were not tactically sound. Yes, you look at the starting 11 and you're thinking, okay, there could be something here. Our midfield is there and thereabout, you know, Ngobo is there, Mabue is there, you know, in the midfield. So there's, you know, some good ball players. Hey, Miguel is back in centre back. In the defence, hey, Kwinika is there. I think he was right back. You're thinking, okay, Lilepo, you know, he hasn't been bad in the last few games. Silva is turning up the fire. So you look at that starting 11 and you're thinking, okay, cool. There's something there. But they were nowhere and there was nothing. There isn't a single player in that Kaizer Chiefs team that gave anything on the pitch. And you know what? They're human. So they're allowed to make mistakes. They're allowed to fuck up. They're allowed to also have a bad day. But why on a Soweto Derby? Why not have a bad day against Magesi or, you know, Orbit College? Something like that. Why on a derby? When everybody's watching. It was just bad. It was just bad. So our energy wasn't right. We were not running hard in terms of pressing and chasing. We didn't fight hard enough. We lost all the loose balls. It just looked like a mess. Like we were in just disarray. So I hope for all the Amakhosi fans and faithful that this is the last time this season we're going to see things and watch a game that turned out to be so awful. I hope this is the last time. Yes, we need new coaches. There's no doubt about that. In fact, I even tweeted, I said, can somebody call Coach Pitso Mosimane because this is bad. Like, we have seen enough with the two coaches that are currently taking care of the team. Like, we've seen enough. Can somebody just call Pitso and say, listen, whatever, here's the package, let's do this? Because I'm just like, we can't. So there are a couple of bad things that happened on that day. You know, you can lose 3-0, but it's how you perform, right? Sundowns beat Pirates, you know, not long before the Soweto Derby. Score was 2-1 in the end. It was 2-0 for a long time in the game. Pirates lost that game, but they didn't lose because they played badly. They just lost because Sundowns were just better in taking their chances. So we lost, not because we played well, but because we were shit. And it's that simple. So, I'm just like, how am I going to get through the rest of the week? Never mind how I got through Sunday. But yeah, look, there are a couple of things that we have to look at. We have to look at the fact that as a football supporter, right, you put so much energy in going to the stadium. I mean, there were over 80,000. There were close to 90,000 people officially. Unofficially, I'm not sure because some people are saying there are 150,000 people here at FNB. It's so packed. Some people didn't have seating, etc. But people went out from all corners of society, from different parts of the country. We even saw our national team coach, Hugo Brucey, was there. We even saw, a former footballer, English Premier League legend, Dwight York. He was there. So it's like everybody was there. EFF leader Julius Malema, he was there with his family. So when people come to the game from far and wide and they've paid money to travel and all of that and bought the tickets, you're expecting the players to rise to the occasion. So actually, well done to everybody that managed to get through, got tickets, who filled up FNB Stadium. Kudos to you, because really that is exactly what South African football is about. But I think it's disappointing if you're a Chiefs fan and very, very exciting if you're a Pirates fan in terms of that experience. So all in all, it was just bad. But you know what? Walk with me here because I want to look at a couple of moments, the best and the worst from how I saw it at the Soweto Derby this time around. Some of these moments were game-changing. Some of them were a reminder of certain things, and some of them were just like, what the hell just happened? So maybe let me start with some of the best moments in terms of the goals. Now, Pirates scored 3 goals. Obviously, one of them was luck, but the other 2 well engineered. So let me start with one of the best goals that I saw in the match. And it obviously has to be Oswin Appollis, from my view. Because not only was the finish just top class, anywhere in the world, he's beating that goalkeeper. But it was also the way that Pirates fought for the ball. They won the ball in the midfield. And then Rile just delivers a champagne pass. Shampopo pass to Oswin Appollis. His first touch was brilliant, Oswin in the box. And then he just bends it around Bruce Vuma, who, you got a feel for. I mean, you haven't played for a while, and then you concede 3 goals. But what a finish. And this is what we expect from Oswin Appollis. If Hugo Bruce, he was there, head coach at Bafana Bafana, he's watching that game. He looks at Oswin Appollis, the fantastic game he had, and the finish with that goal. And he's like, yeah, but I know this. This is why Oswin Appollis is always in the starting 11 in our Bafana Bafana team. That's why when the team sheet comes out, he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet because the guy is just top class. I don't know how long Pirates can keep him for because I think he's well ahead in terms of, players that are ready to go to Europe. But I thought that goal was just a reminder of how brilliant he is. I'm not sure about his hair. Dai nwele. I don't know quite. Oswin, come on, man. Hey, But I get it. Players love, crazy hairstyles. So that was painful. And I mean, at that stage, it was 2-0 to Pirates in the first half. I mean, Chiefs at that stage were under the pump. We're pulling out our asthma pumps. We're calling our life cover insurance policies to check that everything is in order. Like, it was bad. Things were just going bad. So brilliant. I thought of the 3 goals, that was the best goal of the day. Let me talk about maybe the best save. Because, interestingly, as much as Pirates dominated Chiefs, but I thought, even though they were 2-0 up, they didn't have a lot of shots on target, Pirates. Neither did Chiefs, to be honest, in the first half. But things, heated up as the game went on, and eventually, the goals came. But also eventually the keepers had to do a bit of work. There's a save that Sipho Chain makes. I think it's the 95th minute of the game. Now, at that point, I mean, it's already 3-0. Pirates have won the game. It's see you later. Good night, Kaizer Chiefs. But Sipho Chain is like, no. Clean sheets also matter. As much as 3 points matter, but so do clean sheets. And he pulls off a brilliant save. I think it was Lilepo who took the shot, right? In the 95th minute, and Sipho Chain just says, nope, ain't nothing going in. In other words, the discipline, and the level that Pirates team is at is so, high and intense that they're like, we don't even want to concede. Not only do we want to score and win games, but we don't want to concede. So I thought this particular save was brilliant. In a situation that they were already dominating. Some goalkeepers, they lose concentration. The team is like, we've won. 95th minute, what's going to happen? And then they concede a foolish goal. But no, not in this case. So brilliant. I liked it. I thought good save. Can we talk about the refereeing? Yeah, let's talk about the refereeing because I thought that this was a brilliant decision by the ref. Now, Chiefs are 2-0 down, right? It's still first half. And we're thinking, look, we have to come back. If we can get a goal, then we're going to go into halftime with something. Ball comes in from the right. I think it was Lilepo who made the run. Silva, who was playing, I think, the main striker on the day, challenges for the ball. He goes for the ball in the box and he gets tripped. Now, at first glance, you're thinking it's a pen. In fact, I also got up. I'm like, penalty. Yeah? Like, no questions asked. But actually, when you watch the replay, it wasn't a pen because he deliberately drags his foot and leaves it behind for the defender to almost touch it and for it to appear that, no, they tripped me in the box. Ref, come on, give it. Not a pen. Brilliant decision. At first glance, it looked like a pen if you're watching. And I'm sure for all in the stadium, they were like, pen, all day long. No. Now, football is weird because there are games where you're dominating, but you're losing. You're playing well, but you're losing. And when that moment comes, a moment like that where a decision can go your way in the box, you almost feel you deserve it. And yes, a lot of teams deserve it when they're playing well, even though they're losing. But even if we had gotten that penalty, we wouldn't have deserved it, man. Chiefs deserved nothing on the day. So even if the ref for some reason believed it was a pen, it wouldn't have been well deserved because we were just that bad. But brilliant decision. You can imagine the pressure that comes with refereeing a Soweto Derby. It's huge, and everybody's watching you, and the crowds, both camps are cheering and booing every decision that you make. So it's a lot of pressure. I can't even imagine what it's like to be a referee in a game like that. And then there's a moment for you to make a big call in terms of a penalty. And you make not only a big call, but you make the right call. I think that's something that we need to give credit to the referee. So that is no doubt one of the best moments that I picked up in that game. High quality officiating. Can't complain with that. Right? What I do want to do also is look at some not so great moments. Some of the worst moments. And I'm going to start let me start with the goal that Pirates scored against Chiefs in the first half. Let me start with the goal that Chiefs concedes as a result of a deflection. So obviously you saw what happened. Ball comes in from the corner. I think it's Muremi that takes the shot, and it takes a wicked deflection from Silva, and it defeats Uvuma because he's going the one way and then the ball goes the other way. Shiakatelenge. Like, what do? You can't quickly dive. This is not FIFA 20 whatever. This is not a PlayStation game. This is real life football. Your body doesn't just move in an instant from one direction to the other. So I do not blame Vuma for that goal at all, but I do blame Silva. Because, yes, he's not a defender, but my guy, like, if you know there's a shot coming in, position yourself correctly so that if there's a deflection, at least you're well positioned or something. But he just, he tries to close his legs, the ball goes through. Like, this is in the fourth minute already. Pirates are all over Chiefs. And then that happens, So I thought that was a really bad moment. And what followed from there was even worse because the Chiefs players, their heads were down. Like, they were not in the game. Nobody lifted anyone up to say, hey, let's go, let's do this. Nah, they were just like, all right, when is halftime? Like, when is 90 minutes? So that was bad, man. That was a really awful moment. And I know some people, are probably thinking, no, but Mo, you're being unfair because a deflection is a deflection. It's, accidental. It's not like Silva deliberately, wanted that ball to go in. I know, I get it. Which is why he had all the time in the world to get his body in the right position. So I just thought that was a horrible moment. Horrible. Another moment that I thought was like, what the fuck? was when CBC, the Pirates centre-back and captain, he makes a great run. I think it was a counter-attack or they won the ball in transition. I can't remember. Now, CBC gets himself in a position where he's almost one-on-one with the keeper. Cross comes in. Vuma misses the cross. Now, all CBC has to do is direct the ball into goal. So he's basically like looking at an open net. Hi. No. Let me not be devastating for Chiefs today. Let me not be cruel. Even to your enemy, you can display a bit of mercy. And he missed. But that was a huge miss. Not because Pirates needed the goal, but it's just for the moment of it. Because, you look at this and you're thinking, CBC, it's an open goal. Yes, you're a defender, but you guys train every day. I'm sure you've scored a few goals in training. Manjela, what happened? So that was a huge miss. And I thought, the derby will always have one or two moments that make you laugh. I thought that was one of them. You know what I'm saying? But the only thing that will vindicate CBC here in the case of this miss is the fact that he's a defender. Where we say, okay, cool, our defenders don't have to score or they're not as prolific at scoring like other players on the pitch. But other than that was just a bad miss. That was like WTF. So I thought that was a really, really like not so great moment for Pirates. But I have to add my final worst moment. Because one player I felt for on the day was Bruce Vuma. He hasn't been playing for quite a while for Chiefs because it's been Brandon Peterson in goal every game. He's the one who's the goalkeeper. He's the go-to. And then somehow he's left out of the squad due to injury or whatever. Vuma is called up, who, by the way, played in a number of derbies last season, but not quite the same in this season. And he concedes 3 goals. 3. All types of goals. One-on-one finishing by Appollis, the header by Mochopa, the deflection, thanks to Silva. He concedes all types of goals. in a game that he would have appreciated to play in because it's a derby, it's a big occasion. You want to show the Chiefs fans with as in, like I'm still here, guys. I'm still here. You know? Hello, I'm still here. I still got it. I still have it. And then you concede 3 goals. It's not flattering. You know, and then you're like, okay, cool. So what does that mean? Does that mean he was out of the game? I don't think so. He didn't make any mistakes as far as I'm concerned. Okay, maybe, but maybe the goal that Makhupa scored, maybe there we can question a couple of things in terms of where was Vuma. But by and large, I thought he had a decent game given the situation. So it was just bad for him, and I feel for him. So I don't want to, continue talking about this nightmare that we saw over the weekend because I'm actually done. Like, I'm actually done. I'm done with the Soweto Derby. That was. I don't know what's going to happen on April 25th when we meet again. But I'm going to think about that when it comes. I'm going to worry about that closer to the time. I'm not going to think about it right now. I've got a life to live. I've got a family to feed. I've got friends to hang out with. I've got a career that I need to look after. I can't be stressing about a Soweto Derby when I'm still trying to recover from the past game. But seriously, I'm done talking about this game. What I did think, though, was important is just to share with you some of the best and worst moments from the derby and to give you my honest reflection on the game. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. Let's keep hanging out on Watch Party FC. Remember to like and subscribe, tell a friend. And I'll see you on the flip side.